have the other ones available in there.
Wait.
But
What? So, Luke, what are you drinking today? Coca-Cola.
Morning on the way to the gym and set my ukulele on top of the car and then drove off down the road.
I need to bow after that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Look at that.
I learned my lesson from last night.
What a welcome, thank you. I drink the most fruity drinks imaginable.
It's laundry day.
it's laundry day.
So you always wear hats with laundry day?
Here, did you a favor, James. I just say no ukulele.
So how did you two meet?
Well, there's these places in San Francisco. I think they're called bathhouses.
It's like one of those things where everyone wants to focus on like the big events that happen, but day to day, what we're doing is we're on like some of our drawstrings, smoking weed, making comics. It's chill. It's so much fun, and like
Yes. Man, I'm not a YouTuber. I do this because I want to sell comic books.
Woohoo! Perfect.
Yes. Yes, guys.
Wow.
This is as close. This is as close to the Netherlands as I will be.
You know, I feel after watching that opening that I need to have a glass of Merlot here with me.
Well,
But it's 11 in the morning here in LA.
I know, right? This is a time zone like problem, like a conundrum, because my name rhymes with drink, so that made the title, but in reality it doesn't really function because most of my guests are from the United States, you know. So it's a bit early for you guys. I know. Welcome.
Well, one thing I
middle of
learned
the afternoon. It's good.
is that
Well, for us.
where you are in the Netherlands, it's 77 degrees at night. That's pretty balmy.
That's a bit warm. Well, what's nice.
It's nice.
like
Yeah,
it?
it's nice.
Yeah. All right. Let me do my little introduction, guys. It is Sunday, guys. This means another episode of A Drink With Brink, where I talk with other indie creators about their hopes and their dreams and their lives, but also their books and their campaigns. Because, frankly, I'm kind of bored with mainstream. Mainstream kind of sucks, and indie is where the passion is, guys. So I have a full panel today. So Bill was scheduled for today, and he brought on some friends and family. And welcome everyone. Welcome Kat. Welcome Bill. Welcome Mr. Steve Stern. So nice to meet you all.
Thank you so much for having us.
Same
dude.
here.
It's awesome.
Thanks for having us on your show. I've been watching it, and you've had some very cool guests on.
You've been watching it, really?
Yeah, of course.
What?
Yeah, it's on in the States too.
Yeah.
You're
We get that channel here,
famous
too.
in the States.
This is worldwide.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, guys. By the way, I was so I've been talking to like a little other thing, but from next week on, I will be part of a network called the Madness Network, and I will be streaming like on multiple locations at the same time. So I'm setting things up for that. So today is still here through Streamlabs. Next week, hopefully, bigger, better, broader. Anyway, guys, I'm so glad that you're here. Bill, the last time we talked, you were amidst your campaign of Dark Seas 2. Is that true?
Yeah, actually, I think the last time we talked, it was Dark Seas 2. We just wrapped up Dark Seas number 3.
Holy
so
shit.
That it just finished, just wrapped up basically like a week and a half right before we started the Zen campaign for Zen Bounty Wars.
You go from campaign to campaign, man.
Yeah. Well, not all the time. Not all the time. I try to have some breathing room in between if I can, but sometimes the schedule, it just worked out that way this time. And then, of course, in between, I'm constantly working on the books until we get to the next campaign, or there's lots of commissions in between. There's always a mountain of work to do.
Lots of commissions.
Which is not a complaint. So
Speaking of, sir, look at this. Look at this, guys. So this
nice.
What Bill. Yeah, this is what Bill made for me. Let me see if I can make it. I can. Look at this.
I
So,
love that one.
So I, for some reason, I never commissioned Bill to draw a male character. For some reason, I
Yeah,
don't know
not a
why.
male. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. You know, I still have one more. I still have one more piece here in the studio that I need to mail to you.
Oh, really?
I do.
Did I forget something?
There's, you know what? I'll turn my camera off for a second, and I'll go find it, and I will bring it to you. How's that? That'll be a surprise. Yeah.
What's happening?
Oh, there we go.
Anyway, so I got this piece colored. Steve, this was a character from my own series. So I make my own book, my own books, right? And one of the series is called Perfect 10. One of the characters is called Wisp. That's the girl with the long hair. And I had the character colored also, and I wanted to show that. I don't know if Bill saw it yet, you know. So I thought it would be cool to show him. So let's bring it up when he's back. Right. Okay. Cat.
He's in the back room. He's looking.
All right, he's looking.
Here we go without me.
So how have you been, Cat?
I have been very well. I'm doing a lot of coloring. That's the biggest contribution that I make on books like these. So I'm coloring the entirety of this new Zen book. Oh. And I actually did some artwork for this one too. So that's going to be a lot of fun for people to see.
Excellent.
Kat is just an astonishing colorist, and we keep her busy on a multitude of projects.
Yeah.
She's flat out busy.
I think I've been coloring for you specifically for 15 years now.
Yeah.
I think so. Because I think.
Oh, really?
I started when I was like 13, 14. Yeah.
It's like more than half your life you've been coloring. That's right.
It's just I got introduced very early. Because at first I was just helping Dad because he was behind on something. So I was like, oh, how can I help? So I learned Photoshop at the time, and I was just like, oh, I can help. Yeah. But then it turned into I took full jobs to help, and then people just started asking for me by name, and then I just was in.
Yeah. Wow. So
I found it, just so you know. It's not a mystery.
Oh, you did. You found it.
All right.
There we go.
Let's say hi to Gorillamar quickly. Gorillamar, welcome, sir. Welcome to the chat. Gorillamar has his own YouTube channel. Guys, go subscribe if you like reviews, indie comic book reviews.
Absolutely.
So anyways, I've got a little something here.
Oh, I remember it now. Yes, I do. Wait, let me enlarge that one.
There we go.
There she is. Beautiful.
Little blast from the past.
Yes. Wow.
So yeah, I still need to mail this to you. It's been here for a little while. So I'll message you after the show. We'll make sure that we find a way of getting this over to you.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I got that one color too. Bill, I wanted to show you the piece that you sent me. It's fully colored.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if I can't remember if I showed you, but let's do it. Let's do it right now. There it is. There you go. Look at this.
She came out so good.
Pretty.
Yep.
And it's colored by Daniel Rodriguez, who also colors the Perfect 10 series.
Senor Rodriguez.
Rodriguez. Yes. with the rolling R.
Is he Latin? Is he Mexican? Is he Puerto Rican?
He's from Brazil.
From Brazil. That's amazing. All right.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
There's like I don't know why, but there's a lot of talent coming from Brazil for some reason.
There is a lot of talent coming from Brazil. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway,
I see a lot of comic book publishers using a lot of talent from Brazil. But yeah, it's very good. Well, from this Puerto Rican to you, thank you very much. Muchas gracias.
58 Underground is with us in the chat. One sec, Steve. One moment. I need to say hi to everyone before I forget, because then I feel guilty. So 58 Underground, welcome, sir. Welcome to the chat. Nice to see you guys. Cranshaw's also with us today. Welcome, Cranshaw. He says, hey, Dave, guests and chat pals. And then we have Mike. Welcome, Mike. He says, wow, what a panel. Good day, Dave. Both Mouses and Mr. Stern have a great drink. And this is another book that looks great.
Hi, Mike. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Super cool. Super cool.
Thanks, folks.
So anyway, Steve, Kat, started coloring for you. She's coloring for you now for 15 years. But you also, I think, Bill got his first gig through you also. So how did that go?
Right. Well, maybe not exactly his first
Oh,
gig.
okay.
That was through. Well, why don't you explain how you started in the biz, Bill?
Well, my very first gig was for Eclipse Comics. We did a parody. It's where I met Don Chin, and we
Oh, right.
actually
Yeah.
founded Parody Press and Entity Comics together. But my very first one, it was a parody called X Farce for Eclipse Comics. And I think
I
it's
remember that.
I think it sold like I think it was 80,000 copies somewhere along that round. I have to ask Don again just to be sure. Don knows he was the publisher all those years, so he got all the little details. But where it brings us and introduces Steve and Dan Cody to us is the very first title for Entity Comics when we founded Entity Comics was Zen Intergalactic Ninja #0,
Right.
and that was the first time we got a chance to work together. That was 1993, and it was also the first appearance because Steve, thank you very much, good sir. He allowed me to put in my own characters into the book just to kind of like flesh it out and have like more characters to play with. So that was the very first appearance of Nira X in the book. So that was the beginning of our friendship, like all those years ago. So that's why this book that we're doing right now is even extra special because we're bringing the family back together again. So to speak.
Yeah. So Mr. Stern, how did your career in indie comics start? So did it start with Zen, or was there something before that?
Well, the first comic book, and by the way, call me Steve, not Mr. Stern.
All right.
As they used to say, Mr. Stern's my father, right?
We're all friends here.
Yeah. Well, I was obsessed with comic books since the day that my folks bought me an issue of Superboy under an L newsstand in the Bronx where we were visiting my maternal grandmother. I opened up that comic, right, and I saw this kid that I guess I instantly identified with in this bright costume and all these bright colors, and of course he was heroic, and I have to liken that incident to love at first sight, because here I am decades and decades and decades later, and this is what I do, right? So I first thought I was going to be both a writer and an artist, and I created a little comic book I called Ultraman, but I quickly realized I couldn't draw to save my life, okay? Fortunately, I could write sufficiently well to write a story. And ultimately, I started getting published in these black and white, kind of like horror magazines that came out of New York from a company called Skywall. The books were called Psycho and Nightmare.
Right.
And they were basically like Creepy and Eerie, the Warren books. And
but these were like short stories, or were these comic books?
Short black and white, basically horror and sci-fi stories, just the same kind of stuff you would find in books like Creepy and Eerie, right? So what would happen is you would see, I lived in Manhattan at the time, right? And Skywald publisher offices were there. So, and this is long before the days of cell phones and internet and anything, right? Pretty much, right? And what would happen is you'd go into their offices and you'd hand them in a little synopsis, like a one-page synopsis of stories that you were developing. Then what would happen is artists would go into their offices, and if they sparked to a story, then Skywald would commission you to write it, and they'd pay you for it, right? So I was very fortunate. The first guy who sparked to one of my stories was an artist named Jeffrey Jones, Jeff Jones, and he had this page in the back of National Lampoon called Idol, IDYL. Some people pronounce that word idle, okay? And his story was called, and that I wrote and that he illustrated, was called Sleep. So that was the very first story I had published. And then the second guy who sparked one of my stories was William Michael Kaluta. the guy who went up doing The Shadow and all that for DC.
Wow.
And that was a sort of a sci-fi horror story called The Cosmos Strain. Then I also had stories published in these real hardcore black and white horror magazines called like Witches' Tales, right? Stories like called Eat the Flesh, Drink the Blood. That was one of my first stories for Witches'
Oh,
Tales, right?
sounds
And,
Perfect for a drink with Brink.
yeah.
Exactly. So that's how I got started, okay, in getting stories published. But it wasn't until many years later when my wife and I were living in the state of Maine, and I met a young artist there named Dan Cody, and that's when Zen got created. But I'll tell you a little interesting story here. And I warned you I can talk about this
Yeah.
stuff
Go
forever.
ahead, sir. Yeah.
So one of these synopses that I had handed in to Skywald that was never picked up by any of the artists was Zen. Okay, it was a one-page story about an alien named Zen. So what would happen is any stories that weren't synopses that weren't picked up, I would eventually they would be returned to me. So I had a couple of these, and they were in one of the boxes, actually a suitcase that went up with my wife and I when we moved from New York to Maine, right? So a couple days, and I ran an ad agency at that time. That was my business, advertising. So I had established my ad agency up in this town called Auburn, Maine. And a couple days before I was to go see a client, Cody's Old Fashioned Ice Cream, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. I was, unpacking, right? This is all true. And the suitcase that had all these stories and other stuff in it fell on the floor, cracked open, and I swear to you, that one synopsis called Zen flew out of the suitcase.
Oh.
Now, I hadn't looked at this thing in God knows how many years. I'm looking at it. I said, that's not a little bad story. I was wondering why nobody ever picked up on it. So a couple days later, I'm going to a potential new client, Cody's Old Fashioned Ice Cream. Now, that ice cream was determined or called by Yankee Magazine, which is like the arbiter of all things cool in New England. Yankee Magazine called Cody's Old Fashioned Ice Cream, quote unquote, the best damned ice cream in New England. Right. So we're talking really good ice cream here, right?
Right.
So anyway, I go into the offices of the owner of the company, Nancy Cody, and we're talking about me taking over their advertising. And I notice on the walls of her office, there's all these really intricate pen and ink illustrations that look really cool. So I say to Nancy, yeah, what are you doing with those here? They look really neat. And she said, oh, my son Dan does those. And then she says to me, Steve, if you'll have Dan do all of the artwork for our ads, you can have the account. So not being a stupid person, I immediately said yes. Okay. So a couple of days later, I go to Dan's house. He's up in his attic airbrushing
Classic old
stuff.
folk story.
And I'm looking at this stuff, and his work is gorgeous, right? And we're talking about the advertising we're going to do for the ice cream. And then I say, Dan, have you ever done comic books? Your art's so cool. He says, no, but I really want to do one. And I said, well, I have a story you might like. It's called Zen, because I just looked at the synopsis that was like, I don't know, 10, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And that's how Zen got started.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that crazy? It was your destiny.
That's
It
that's
was.
like,
There should be constantly like little ice cream cones in the background or something.
I hadn't thought
Or
about
space
there should be.
cows.
There should be.
This is my whole life. It has all of these coincidences.
yeah, it was
serendipity.
like, it's like what's the word? Serendipitous? Is that the
Yeah.
correct?
Very much
Exactly.
so. Yeah, very much so.
Exactly. And
I have a question for
Sure.
Dave.
Oh.
Because here in America, we have a type of ice cream where it's a character that we can get from an ice cream truck, but they always look like their eyeballs are always like a little bit weird. I don't know if you have those there.
Oh, is that with eyeballs like when I was
gummy,
yeah,
like
right,
gumball.
yeah. It's
Yeah, because it would be
I-
so funny if Zen had one, but it was like slightly askew.
all right.
Like yes.
I know Zen should have ice creams. It's like
I
it's
haven't
like it's
seen
part of
those.
his
else,
origin.
right?
It's part of his origin story.
I haven't
We
seen
should be-
those.
we should be
ice creams
building
here
that
for
up.
a long time.
Funny. Like those astronaut ice cream bars.
Uh-huh. So it's
Right.
like a blue Zen ice cream bar.
Yeah, it's just like his face. It'd be so funny.
Yeah, Zen head.
Okay, let's. David Feed is in the chat. Welcome, David. Welcome, sir.
Hey, Dave.
Mike says, Dave, I have several questions about Safeguard, especially after Perfect 10 number 5, but we'll save them until you launch Safeguard campaign. Oh, okay, interesting. I'm happy to answer any questions, unless it's spoilers. Welcome, Edith.
Hello.
Welcome. And Mike says that's a classic all New York story unto itself.
For sure.
Mike says, I hope that Bill and Cat 2 sometime gets commissioned for some Jamon Comics characters. Wisp looks great. A lot of Jamon lady characters to choose from. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
thanks,
not-
Mike. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, Wisp is not
We're-
the first one that I commissioned from Bill. I have a small
That's it,
stack
that's
now.
it.
I have a small collection.
And we're always up for more. I love working with Dave. This is cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
Oh, wow. I don't know. So Steve,
Mhm.
you strike me as a natural storyteller, right? So how did you know that you could write? Did you learn it, or was it just a natural gift?
Well, I think what happens is everybody has a natural gift of some sort, right? Could be art, writing, or plumbing, whatever, right? Anything.
Yeah, sure.
And the trick is to be persistent and to hone your craft. And, I think it was American President Calvin Coolidge who said, nothing is more important in life than persistence. And, and the fact that Zen was created 38 years ago in 1987 and is still here today is, I guess, a testament to my and
Which-
Dan Cody's persistence.
That's another reason that it makes sense that I'm working on the book with you, because I graduated in 1987.
Right.
This is like a Marty
Serendipity.
Doc Brown thing going on. This is,
Yeah.
Yeah, this also how you get things like I see so many people in the small industry. They make they start making this book, right? They have a project going on. It's a lot of work, a lot of and especially the first years you won't see any return, right? It's a lot of investment, a lot of work, and a lot of people give up. And I had these moments also, like weekly. Why am I doing this? But it's persistence. You have to keep going, build a catalog, and eventually you will build like a following, and like people will like what you make. But you have to make a lot of it. You have to build something, right? So how many books are there now from Zen?
There's over 100.
Over 100.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But remember, that's like 38 years, so it's not that many
Sure.
books if you think about it on an average, right?
Well, yeah.
Both comics and graphic novels, and I've also written what we call illustrated fiction and novellas, which is prose stories with some art. The very first Zen novella we did, illustrated novella, was called Mistress of Chaos. I wrote the prose and Bill did the artwork. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
But remember, even with that in mind, millions of copies have actually been sold. Of those 100 copies, millions of copies have been sold worldwide. So it's like Zen has got quite a footprint.
Yeah. Well, you said that like the book you made with Dawn, like they sold 80,000. You said, right?
And that was actually my first book. I mean, it didn't sell that many copies because I drew it. I was lucky enough to be on a project.
Well,
where it sold that
80,000
many
for an
copies.
indie title. That's massive. Right?
In 90s numbers, it was
Yeah.
real. It was a good number,
Yeah.
but a realistic number for the 1990s were magic. Like it was. We used to have. I mean, we have. Like Diamond Comics is basically like the only main distributor that people have been using now for some years, right? We used to have 30, 35 distributors. like worldwide. And it's like, so it's, if everybody just ordered a couple of copies, you're doing very well. So we were able to sustain when we founded Parody Press and when we founded Entity Comics. I mean, it was almost a decade of us making comic books together, and it worked really, really well.
Wow.
Yeah.
The different world right now. So it's like we have to take the reins and kind of do things ourselves. And I love the fact that we're hooked in with a great support system at First Comics. I mean, Zen is really hooked into the right people, the right publisher, and above my pay grade to talk about. That's why I'll leave that part to Steve.
Well,
to talk about those relationships and to talk about the things that are happening with Zen on that end.
Right. Zen has had conservatively over 3 million copies, sold.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you. We started out self-publishing. Dan and I, created Zen Comics Incorporated. So we started out self-publishing. And then once we started getting licensing deals, for the toys and the video games, which I can talk about extensively if you want to hear about it, we also got a licensing deal, and we did a couple of limited series with the Archie Company. And those books alone, had hundreds of thousands of copies out on the stands.
Oh, yeah.
And then, of course, we went to Entity Comics, and we had a great run in the early to mid 90s with Entity. And then there was a period where we went back and self-published as Zen Comics. And then in 2011, I met a fella named Ken F. Levin. Now, who is Ken F. Levin? Ken is the founder of First Comics, which was... back in the day, it was the original creator-owned comic book company, right? That published titles like Grimjack and Nexus, and Badger,
Badger. Yeah.
All right, yeah. With Mike Barron.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so what happened was Ken met with me and said, Steve, the only book I didn't publish back in the day that I want to publish now is Zen, because he had recently revived First Comics, which was on hiatus for many years. So I said, Ken, it'd be an honor to work with you. And so First Comics has been publishing Zen continuously since about 2011. I should mention to you that if you watch the show The Boys on Amazon Prime, you'll see that Ken is an executive producer of The Boys. Why is this? Because in addition to being the founder and publisher of First Comics, Ken is also the manager of many of the people he has published or has had a relationship with, including Garth Ennis. That's why Ken was the man who was instrumental in making Preacher happen on AMC. And then he was the man who was instrumental in making The Boys happen on Amazon. And The Boys is by far like the biggest monster show I think in the history of Amazon. They get about 90 million viewers per episode. The Boys also happens to have a spinoff already called Gen V that is going into its second season, and I believe there are a couple more spinoffs coming. So Ken's the guy who precipitated all that, so we have to give him his
just a little busy.
Just a little bit. And,
busy man.
And I'm fortunate because Ken is also my manager, which increases the odds of Zen appearing somewhere on a small and/or large screen at some point, hopefully in the near future. So
things are in motion, right?
Oh yeah.
Because
just so you know.
Just so you know, yeah. The thing is, though, with comics, you can go nuts with comics, right? You can anything you can think of, you can like make, and it costs the same to make like a space adventure as it would cost to make a detective, right?
I gotta buy sets.
Yeah, but to translate it to a different medium, there's the difference, right?
Huge.
Because Zen, if you wanted to do Zen properly, that's a different ball game, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. We're currently developing Zen for both live action and animation.
Wow.
Yeah, I co-wrote a Zen live
Mhm.
action screenplay with
Oh,
a
you did?
friend of mine and former roommate named Peter Sullivan. And I got to tell you a quick story about Peter Sullivan.
Yes, please do.
So I lived in London for a year, and that was the year of 2008. And when I came back
Mhm.
here, I needed to like get a new apartment, and I got this roommate named Peter Sullivan. Right, Peter was a native of Boston. He had come out here to L.A. because he was a graduate of the Tisch Film School at NYU, very prestigious East Coast place to learn the film industry. So Peter came out here to become get into the film industry. But when I met him, he was a teller, like I think in Bank of America. But during the time that we were roommates, uh, he got a job finally in the film industry, and that was around like say 2009. Since 2009, Peter has either written, produced, or directed over 150 movies.
Wow.
The latest one of which was a pretty big hit on Netflix called The Merry Gentleman, which was about a bunch of like
Mhm.
Chippendales, male strippers, who of
Yeah.
course do these charitable shows to make money for Christmas, for Christmas charities. So
Right.
so Peter and I co-wrote this Zen live action screenplay, and then we also have
Mhm.
an animated pitch developed. So
Mhm.
there's amazing potential today, especially since we have the streaming media
Mhm.
that has created like the golden age for content creators, because all of these, Netflix,
Mhm.
Amazon, Paramount, Peacock, all these things, they all have an unending need for content.
That's crazy.
So it's a great
Mhm.
time for all of us to be creators. Now I'm going to
Yeah.
shut up. I'm talking too long. Go ahead.
No, it's fascinating. It's
No, you're good. You're good. This
fascinating.
is what people want to hear, man.
Yeah. And the thing is, when you make a comic book, when you're a small creator, like you don't dare to dream too big, right? So the project is the book. You
Mhm.
want to make the comic book, make it good, uh, get it done, and that's the project, right? So, but you're like multiple steps beyond that. So was that always part of your plan, or did it just like
Well,
happen? Or did you really
you see,
pursue this?
you're baiting me again. I can talk too long on this stuff. All right, I got to tell you quickly. Okay, was it a plan? No. I just loved comics, and
Mhm.
that's why I started writing them. That's why I
Mhm.
created Zen with Dan. But I'm also a marketing guy. I owned an advertising agency at the time that I created
Mhm.
Zen. All right. So I'm sucked into telling you this story.
Yeah,
All
go
right.
ahead.
So the
Sorry,
book
guys.
started. So
Sorry, no, no, this is good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
as Bill mentioned, Diamond was the big distributor then, and we
Mhm.
distributed Zen through Diamond because you had to, and it started selling pretty
Mhm.
good. We were selling like 3,500
Mhm.
copies, and I said to myself, I put on my advertising hat, and I said, what can I do to really get this comic book going? Now, because I owned an ad agency, I was a member of something called PR Newswire, which is the preeminent service that distributes press releases across the country electronically, everywhere, to
Mhm.
like over 2,000 media points, from the New York Times to Hollywood Reporter to Variety to Wall Street Journal, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I did a
Mhm.
press release about Zen. And the press release, the hook was, hey, in the world of comic books, Superman's an alien. He comes from the planet Krypton, but he looks just like a human being. We've got a comic book with a brand new alien superhero who really looks like an alien. So I put out this release, and I attached to it, it's called the photo release. I attached to it a picture of the cover of the first book where Zen
Mhm.
looks, really alien and fierce.
Yes.
So I spent some money, I put the release out. 2 weeks later,
Mhm.
a business associate of mine calls me, says, Steve, go to the newsstand and pick up USA Today. I go there, and there on the front page of the Life section of USA Today, which the Life
Mhm.
section is the entertainment section, their biggest life is the press release, reformatted by them, and the
Mhm.
picture of Zen.
That
That
must be
day,
nuts.
that day, everything changed.
Wow.
Everything. And that's why I'm sitting here talking to you today. If I had
Mhm.
not done that, and if
Mhm.
USA Today, which to this day is the largest, believe it or not, circulation newspaper in the US, if that hadn't
Mhm.
happened, we wouldn't be talking today. But as a result, it did happen. Within days, I had a major
Mhm.
licensing agent. Within months after that, we had two video games from the Konami company, NES and
Mhm.
Game Boy. We had a
Mhm.
line of action figures from the Just Toys company.
Within
And
months? Did you say
months,
within?
months.
Mhm.
So completed
And
games and everything, or
yeah, well, we had the contract for
licenses?
it. It
And
took
The
a
deal
year
to
to
right,
make
get
the
the
game.
yeah,
game.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we worked directly with the Konami people on both iterations of the game. That's a whole other story. And yeah, so so you need creative talent,
Mhm.
but you need persistence. But it doesn't hurt to have some marketing savvy.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the missing ingredient
and a
with
little bit of
yeah,
a
luck.
lot of things. Yeah,
and a lot of luck.
a lot of luck.
Oh, a
A
lot
little
of
bit of
luck.
luck. Yeah. Oh
Yes.
wow, fantastic
Yeah.
story.
Yeah,
Excellent.
Thank
timing
you.
timing
Thank
is
you.
everything. Yeah, you got to be
Timing
at the
is
right
everything.
place at
Yeah.
the right time.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, even my first gig that I got, just drawing my first real comic book for a real company, it wasn't because I got the gig. It was because I talked my friend. I have a friend. I used to live in San Diego. I lived in San Diego for about 10 or 12 years, and I worked at SeaWorld drawing caricatures. That was kind of like my boot camp for being an artist, you know.
Yeah.
And I have a friend of mine. His name is Bob Hannon. Good friend. Miss him to death because I live on the East Coast now, and it's like I'm separated from my artist friends that live in
Oh
San
no.
Diego. You know.
Oh.
And yeah, he's like family, dude. It's but we used to talk all the time about doing comics. You know, comics is kind of like a first love for myself and for a lot of people that I know. And we would always talk about comics and this and that. Is that he would always mention that he knew an editor, that he knew somebody in comics. You know that he. So I kind of bugged him and kind of elbowed him for a long time. He's like, why don't you call him? Why don't you call that person up? Why don't you call that person up? So he comes to me one day and he tells me, it's just like, you know what? I got a gig. I called that person that I knew. There was a gig that was coming up. But the problem with the gig is that the deadline was coming up way too fast. There was no way he could do everything all at once. So he invited me to join him on X-Farce, which was written by Don Chen. And I ended up penciling the entire book. He ended up inking the entire book. And of course, Don wrote it. It was like a week and a half. We just at his apartment, I would pencil a page, I would toss it over to his table, he would ink the page. We both had our girlfriends at the time. So basically they're bringing us food while we're drawing, and it was just a nonstop marathon trying to get this book done in time.
Wow.
And it's the only disappointing thing about it was supposed to have a Todd McFarlane cover, which might be one of the reasons that people ordered so many copies of it at the time.
Mm.
And that didn't happen, scheduling or for whatever reason. At the last minute, they basically told us, it's like, we need a cover for the book. So I drew the cover for the book. Bob inked it. We got it out, got it done in time. We both passed out. We're laying in the middle of the street. We got a comic book in a store. You know, so
Wow. And it's probably because you did like caricature drawing, and you need to be fast, right? You don't.
I need
want
to be
keep
fast.
people
Yeah,
waiting.
Right.
So
I'm
probably helped.
I'm actually not that fast at inking and coloring and
Right.
lettering. It's okay because all the lettering is done in the computer nowadays, so I can pull up some lettering. But penciling, I'm actually quite fast at penciling.
Super fast.
And I
I
think
have a question.
the training.
Bill, I have a question for you.
What is it, Steve? What you got?
You said, quote unquote, your girlfriends at the time. I want to know if one of them was Kat's mother.
It was. It was.
Okay.
That was right before we got married. That's right. And that was like several lifetimes ago, but
and there was a small time where she was coloring stuff too.
There was. Yeah, we actually when we started Entity Comics and we were still married at the time. I had Thad, of course, Steve knows my good friend Thad. I went to high school with him and another couple of good friends of mine. We actually set up a coloring house in our house. So instead of having a dining room with furniture and stuff like that, I got office tables that went around the perimeter of the entire room, and we had computers. We had like 4 or 5 computers set up. Everybody would show up to work in the morning. We'd color comic books all day. So
Wow.
Amazing. Yeah.
pretty crazy. And that's when Don Chen, we actually moved from San Diego. He lived in Eureka at the time. Eureka, California is way northern, as northern California as you can get without crossing the border.
Yeah.
And we both moved to Virginia Beach just so we can set up our studio and have everything close by so that we can actually do everything in-house. At his house, bless you. At his house, we would, we would have, he had all of the lettering was happening at his house. And he bought all the equipment to print his own film that he would send to the printer. We did everything except chop down the trees to make the paper. I mean, it's, so all of the drawing and coloring was done at my house. We went over to Don's house. We get everything scanned and everything. He was printing out. He had the big film machine. It was like a big $20,000 machine that would just take. And we had these large SideQuest discs. They were literally metal discs, so like a hard drive. But there were discs. That was what was considered and it was only 88 megs per disc. And we thought that was huge at the time, So sometimes we'd have to, instead of mailing a whole box of these things to a printer, we would print our own film right in house. It was a crazy time, but it was a fun time. It was a good time.
I am so spoiled as a 21st century colorist.
Yeah, I was excited when I got a fax machine for the first time. Okay. And it was Don Chin that bought it for me, and I'm sending pages back and forth to either Don or Steve to approve pages. We're faxing each other pages. When they talk about Fred Flintstone.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. Yeah. It was good to see all those different stages of technology, kind of trying to keep up with what we wanted to do. Now I'm coloring pages on my iPad. I use Procreate on my iPad. I still use Photoshop. I still got to color correct and letter.
You can airdrop full Photoshop documents just through Wi-Fi, and I'm just like,
yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's like before we had to send a stone tablet by pigeon.
Yeah. Things become easier and easier, but at some point they need to stop. We don't need to reach the point where comics just make themselves, right? We don't want.
No, we don't want to get to that point. It's like it's like if you're just prompting and getting something, because the whole point of being an artist in the first place, of writing a story, is connecting with people. So if and don't get me wrong, I'll right click and save some of these little artificial pictures that the old computer has been making from other people. They're amazingly put together. And some of them are really cool images, but they're empty. I can't connect with the person on the other side of that. So if I go to a comic book convention, I don't want to see a bunch of IBMs behind the tables.
And then especially since we're a family that makes comics.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The best part about making all of these comics is the process of making all of these comics. If it just happened like that, it's just like it's
What's
like
the point?
fell in love with the process.
One of my favorite artists of all time is actually Todd McFarlane, and he has a quirky style. It's like it's like a signature. You're buying the person's personality. You're buying a part of their day. They're a part of their experience. And being able to connect with another artist because you enjoy their work. It's more than just getting this piece of work. You're getting a piece of their life. You're getting if I went to go get an autograph from a movie star, I remember the experience of saying hi to them. It's like, I enjoy your work. This is really cool. It's like, it doesn't matter if it was a good movie or a bad movie. If I loved it and I liked their work, it's an experience, and we're connecting people with people.
Right. This is that whole debate between AI and artists. Some people may try to create a comic book with AI. It's going to look pitiful. It's going to look soulless. And the reason that I don't think artists really have to worry about this is that what's preeminent is the individual artist's particular style. And you can't get Kat's or Bill's or anybody's style out of an algorithm. Okay? So I'm not really worried about AI. It's, of course, going to affect certain people in certain industries, but
It will.
you know,
It will.
it's
It's
not going to
undeniable.
affect. It's not going to affect artists because
Yeah.
Mm.
And
artists.
luckily, because Dad and I do conventions often,
Mhm.
so something that
Yes,
we
you can make
noticed is
sketches.
Yeah, make
Right.
sketches on the spot.
Yeah.
so it's just like we do sketches on the spot where it's just like it's all of that, but people around, like the actual consumers, they don't want the AI art. They want it to be actual people making
Yeah.
things. So
Yeah.
luckily, the actual consumers are agreeing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
There's going to be room for both. There's going to be people that buy it, and there's going to be
Yeah,
people that
back
want
and
art
forth.
from real. You know, the last convention that we did, a lot of the people, because it was a smaller convention, it was the first time we'd ever been to this particular location. It's a really cool place. And a lot of the people that came up, they didn't know who we were because we're new to that area. They don't buy our books. But the selling point was, oh, did you make this yourself? And then they got interested, and then they bought stuff. You know, simply
Nowadays,
because
people need.
it's like, oh, I met the person that made the thing. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
nowadays people need to ask, did you actually make this? You know.
right,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I actually wrote this one. I actually drew this one. And
Yeah, yeah.
It was like, oh, this is really cool. I had no idea, you know, that you sat here and made these. So it's like, so it's nice. And there were people, a lot of the people I sold books to that day, and a lot of the people I sold sketches to that day, they weren't necessarily comic book fans. They got drugged to the show by somebody who was a comic book fan.
Yeah.
So they were just killing time. They were just wandering about and having fun and seeing everything. So I was more than happy to sell them things and have a conversation and have that connection. You know,
Just
so that was
creating new fans, right?
right.
Right. I can talk. I can talk to you guys for hours, but we need to dive into the campaign first. Let me go to the chat to see what I missed. Argo Comics is with us in the chat. Welcome, Dan Sen. Welcome, sir.
Dan, what's up, dude?
There you go.
Cool to see Dan. Wonderful creator. A lot of characters. A lot of books. It's crazy.
Yeah. I enjoy working with Dan. Dan's a really cool guy. I've done a lot of work with him over the years.
Yeah, I
Hey, Dan.
know. Dr. Ino is with us. Welcome, Dr. Ino. Welcome, sir.
Awesome. Hello.
It's good to be here for a bit.
Glad you
he
guys are
says,
hanging out with us. That's awesome.
Cat, Stephen, Bill, I like you guys already. You see the human connection. That's
Yeah.
what it's
Thanks.
about.
Thanks, my friend. We like you too. That's why we draw. That's why we want to connect. It's like it's an excuse for us to do something fun together. You know what I mean? It's like as adults, unfortunately, we have to monetize our time in order to make things work because everybody has to eat and put gas in their car and that sort of thing.
I would like to eat.
If I didn't need money, I would still be doing this. You know, it's about the connection. When I was in elementary school and high school, this is how I made friends, was by drawing. I wasn't like the cool athlete. I was kind of a band nerd. I played tuba for like 8 years. I mean, I got really good at tuba playing, but not a lot of people, not a lot of rock bands want a tuba player. So I used art to make friends and to make connections with people. So it's like but yeah, this is an excuse for us to do this fun thing that we all like to do. You know, we get on the same page together and have a good time.
Mike says comics already make themselves in our minds. It's then up to all of you to convey them through image and word.
Agreed, my friend.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, let me see. Dr. Reiner says there's going to be a demand for human artists if AI continues to escalate.
Yep.
It's true. I think it actually puts a little bit more value on the individual artist as being, it's like, oh, this is like a genuine, I said genuine, a genuine thing. And, and sure, the computer is going to produce like this perfectly rendered thing that it learned to do from artists.
Like at absolutely egregious speeds.
Yeah.
As long as people don't like, because like really the Pandora's box is open. The only issue I would have with any AI art is if somebody tries to say it's their art, they made it.
Right.
You know, if they're lying about it. You know, like I'm not going to take a Jim Lee piece of artwork and say I drew it. You know, it's like that mentality. You know, as long as you're upfront and honest about what it is, it's cool. It's whatever.
But this happens too, unfortunately. Welcome, Cosmonaut Comics. Welcome, sir. Cosmonaut Comics also has a YouTube channel, guys, where he does daily comic book reviews. So go check that out. Go subscribe. Let me see what else I missed. Mike says, selling point, exactly original physical traditional art an artist can always see wherever and whenever. With digital exclusivity, not so much.
I got you.
Right.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, guys, it's time for the campaign. We're running a bit later than usual, but I don't know if you guys mind. If you need to go, let me know.
I'm good.
No, we're fine.
Right.
Good.
Excellent,
Totally cool.
excellent, guys. Let me see. Zen and Bounty Wars number 2.
Mhm.
There we go. Kapow! There it is.
Kapow!
Yay!
Look at that. 48 backers. So this morning, I checked a
Mm-hmm.
few hours ago, it was 42. So you're getting like backers.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're super happy about it. I mean, we live streamed just ourselves this time around. We usually live stream with a campaign kind of angle, getting on a show. You know, to actually do like a launch cast.
Right.
This time we kind of
Like a
just
launch
did it on our
stream.
yeah launch party. You know, and
Yeah.
well, we'll be doing a lot of streams throughout the month. I'll call them post launch parties. So,
Yeah.
but I'm super happy. You know, we launched ourselves, and we just live streamed on my channel, and where I do the weekly mouse every Saturday at 10 o'clock p.m. Standard Eastern Time. And it's been great. It's been great. I'm super happy. Like, we had a large tier that actually collects a lot of original art that actually went like in the first hour and a half.
Wow.
Like in the first 2 hours, something like that. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah, we've been getting backers all night long. Like we got to our funding goal, like it says there, in the 5 hours.
Yeah, in 5 hours
Which
last
I'm
night.
very, very, very happy with. So now it's all about trying to get to those stretch goals. I really want to see the campaign reach like 12 or 15 for this campaign.
Mm-hmm.
So that way we have, and it's like we're already in the middle of working on everything. Everything's in the works. In the preview section, there's going to be updates in the preview section all month. I'll be putting up previews of fully colored pages, so that way people can see the book kind of like come to life a little bit and see the progress. Yeah, so I'm super happy about it.
We have a question in the chat.
Oh, we have a question. Let me see. Mike asked, Bill, Steve, did you unfortunately forego international shipping because of already ludicrous shipping charges and economic uncertainty?
Yes, that's basically the biggest reason. And I think our last campaign, I'm not sure how many international packages we actually sent. It might have just been
About 3 to 4.
It was only 3 or 4 international packages. But because of the world stage being uncertain and because of tariffs, and the shipping is just insane. So for the moment, like if you're overseas, I would kindly invite you to please collect up our digital tiers, because obviously we can sell you our digital tiers with our high-res PDFs. But for right now, the shipping is just too uncertain, and it kind of, if things change at a moment's notice towards the end of the campaign or after the campaign actually ends, it might actually do some damage.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, but since we only have a handful of overseas packages that usually goes out, if anybody that happens to be listening, you're overseas, would like to take part in the campaign, you can contact us directly.
Right.
I think my website and is direct contact to my email. There's a contact form on there. After the campaign is over, I usually have some extra from the campaign that I can actually put together a package specifically for you. And so if you want to contact us after the campaign, we can try our best to take care of you that way.
Right, because we certainly want to accommodate anyone overseas. And Zen has quite a few fans overseas. In Russia, is quite a few fans. In Italy, England, and yes, we'll have some extra materials printed up. So at the end of the campaign, we'll do our very best to accommodate
exactly
international orders.
Oh, fantastic, guys! Yeah, it's a bit. You know, I'm from the Netherlands. I make my books here, but 90% of my audience is from the United States. So this is something that I have to figure out the strategy for the next campaign. So working on that.
Yeah. Especially since you're shipping so much to the U.S. too. So
yeah.
I know that there's a couple of people that are trying to put together bulk shipping from overseas areas. So since you're shipping so much of it, you could probably,
Mhm.
I'll talk to you about that a little bit later. I know of one or two people that are putting, you might actually be aware of them already, because I think we've been on similar live streams. I think you might be aware of those people already.
Cosmonaut Comic says, congrats, Mouse team.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, shall we watch the trailer?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. There we go. There's no. The sound. Comic PM. All right. Nice.
Cool. Thank you, my friend.
And Bill, you even did the music on that, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I kept on getting copyright strikes every time I was using other supposed to be copyright-free music for like other videos that I put together, and there's always something about it that sets off a copyright strike somewhere. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me just break out my keyboards. I'm just going to start writing music again.
Oh, nice.
So it's an excuse. It's a necessity, but it's an excuse to sit down and actually write some music, have some fun that way too.
A man of multiple talents.
I do my best. I'm here to serve the people.
Right. So here we have the titular character, Zen.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Mau, is this Bill? Is this your redesign? I think that I remember that Zen started with a different look, right? Before you came.
Zen started with a different look. The Archie series, it had him, because the Archie series was really focused, and you can always correct me if I'm wrong there, Steve. You can always chime in, because this is right before Entity Comics. So the Archie series was definitely focused on kids. It was kind of a Captain Planet like approach to the environment and like a kid's message. And Zen was a much shorter character, slightly larger head, thinner body. And so when we started publishing with Entity Comics, my request or my dream was I talked with Steve and Dan about possibly redesigning Zen to where he's much more not adult, like general audience, but like action, like an action figure, like more like a Spider-Man, kind of like a beefier Spider-Man proportions. So he looks much more like a fierce ninja, action hero type of. So this is where the redesign ended up being. So we've got, and this is the way Zen has been drawn ever since.
Yes.
So I will take full credit for redesigning Zen.
Yeah.
We're just giving him different proportions. It is really the same character, but I do give him some different elements and augment his weapons and things like that. So
yeah, cool.
The hypership his hypership has gone through a few different redesigns. The hypership that we have right now, it's a little different from the original one, because the original one looks much more like a dragonfly with large wings, large tail, kind of like a dragonfly.
Right.
And I have this one as a more conservative, kind of like a Star Wars type of used ship, but it also moves and transforms, so those elements can come out of it, and it looks like the original ship. So it's like that'll be a lot of fun to play around with, to have the original classic look emerge from this design.
Wonderful. Okay, while we marvel at these images, Steve, could you explain to us what Zen is, what the concept is, what the character is?
Okay, sure. Well, Zen was created in a genetic experiment on the planet Baltoon. When the experiment was deemed a failure, the scientists running the experiment told his female assistant named Tesla, believe it or not, to dispose of the biomatter. Okay, but Tesla, she realized that this little creature was alive. So what she did is she put him in basically what's called a waste pod and jettisoned this little creature out into space with the words, "May the great creator protect you." And he did, because the pod fell into the gravitational pull of the mystical planet Om, where Zen was raised by the masters of Om, specifically Master Sattva, his mentor. Zen quickly became their foremost acolyte, and upon his maturity, they sent him out into space to find his destiny. And initially, he was a soldier of fortune, a mercenary, and has now become, one of the most feared and well-known bounty hunters in space. That is, in short form, is Zen's story.
Yes.
Yeah, a lot of
Yes.
potential for adventure, right?
Mhm.
Totally, and there's been plenty of them.
Here's the
these
cat.
are a look at the different
The cat
covers
mouse.
that we have available.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
cat
you-
mouse variant.
you drew
cover.
this cat?
Yes.
Yeah, that's Cat.
That is beautiful. Really
And the
cool.
original art is already sold. It was part of our big ultimate tier, our big boss tier, we like to call it. And,
Oh, really?
some of the original art from our covers, from basically the 3 mouse covers on this campaign, were in that tier. So it's a one of one. It goes to one extra special collector out there, and it's gone. Thank you so much.
Right. That's
Nice.
the cat mouse variant cover.
Yeah, really cool. So the logo
Amazing.
has a little bit of a Star Wars vibe.
Oh, it
Yeah.
has a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we wanted that.
Yeah.
Now look at the next one.
This is Andrew Mangum's variant cover.
Wow.
We're lucky enough to have Andrew with us this time. He's
Yeah,
we've worked together before on a couple different things, and
Yeah.
he's a fantastic artist. So I'm super happy that he's got his rendition of Zen
That is
on
fantastic.
one of our covers.
Love
Yeah,
it.
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Beautiful colors also.
Yeah, I think it was David Kemp, I think, is the colorist
Yeah.
for that piece. He really
DK,
brought it
yeah.
out. Yeah, really killed
Nice.
it. Yep.
Really nice. Right. Then we have Ultimate Collector's Boss tier.
Mhm.
There's one more above that. You went past the little.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's just a little blurb. That tier 7. We call it
this.
the we call it the Run It Through the Garden My Man tier. So it's basically it has one of everything, just about anything that it's about the issue 2. Anything that's related to issue 2. All the covers for issue 2. We have a sticker pack. We have a print pack. We do have original sketches that you'll see when you scroll down a little bit further. All those things are just in that one tier. So if you just wanted to, if you didn't want to like go around and see all the different selections, you just want to get one of everything, tier 7 is the way
All
to
right.
go. It's just Run It Through the Garden. And then tier 8 is the one of one, so that's already gone. So it had basically one of everything plus the original art, which was the cover art for the book.
Wow.
The three original mouses.
Wow. Mike says the earliest I remember Zen is from the ads for the NES video game, then the comics in the shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people
awesome.
got introduced through the game, right?
Oh, well, I would say probably as many, if not more people got introduced to Zen through the game. It was the last 8-bit NES game that Konami made, and it's widely considered to be the best 8-bit game ever created, visually, and it's also an extremely tough game to win. And if you go on YouTube, you will see so many videos of people playing this game. So, yes. So, and by the way, all of the packaging art for both video games, as well as all the toys and all the covers of the Archie series, was done by a super talented guy named Jim Fletcher. And Jim will be with me at Comic-Con this year, in July, where we're introducing a new concept. Jim's a great guy. He was for many years the creative director of DC Direct.
Whoa, exciting!
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exciting stuff. Wow.
Yeah. Lot going on.
By the way, guys, we're now at we're 49. We got an extra backer.
Awesome.
Thank
We need one
you.
more backer to reach 50. Yes.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on! Ah! Yes! Yes!
That's perfect.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank you, guys. Let's get to 50 during this stream.
Yeah, why not?
Let's give that a go, guys. Thank you so much. All right, let's see where we left off. A lot of beautiful art. Oh wait, we had a comment from let me see, from Mike. He says, really like the look of that spread of characters that Zen and Naira are in the midst of. That's this one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Really beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, dude.
You know what I'd like to point out on that? If you look to the bottom left of that piece of art, you notice his character carrying a big gun and with a crazy. That's Black Hole Bob. Black Hole Bob is finally returning to the Zen universe. He appeared in the 1990s in a story called Total Lobotomy. And Black Hole Bob is the craziest, wildest, most insane berserker bounty hunter that you've ever met. And I'm really glad we're bringing him back into this story. And he's going to be a permanent fixture from now on.
He's going to be super, super dope in this issue. So yeah, you don't want to miss what we're going to do with him. It's going to be kind of cool.
There was a picture of him. If you scroll back up for a moment, you see a black and white full body picture. Go the other way.
The other way, yeah. The other way down.
You'll see.
In the preview section, right.
There's Black Hole Bob in all his black and white glory.
Yeah.
Now it is a full color book, so I'm just letting you know. In the preview section, I'm going to be updating the preview section throughout the whole month.
Oh, sure.
So there'll be at least 5 or 6 pages full color that you'll be able to see and enjoy while we get everything else worked in.
Yeah, really cool. So Kat, did you color this spread here?
No, I did not.
Oh,
I'm coloring all of the interior pages.
Oh, the interior work, right?
Yep, she's all interior work. Yep.
All of that coloring
And
is that.
and
Yeah,
and,
she did a great job.
and she of course colored her own cover.
Yes.
You're right.
This one, yeah.
I love that. Yeah, I gotta get that myself.
Really cool.
Yeah, she did all the colors for the interior pages and for the print pack and for the trading cards. We got a couple things that are lined up for the issue.
Right. So how many pages is this comic?
Right now, it's a 24-page comic, but there is an unlock if we get to 15,000 that I'm going to add an extra 4 pages.
Yeah.
Basically, Black Hole Bob madness. It's going to be nuts.
So I'm really hoping we get there because I want to see that.
Yeah.
So now we're in our add-on store.
Right. We simplified. We kind of streamlined the way that people order our books. So we only have the 7 or 8 tiers, which is each individual cover and like the 2 bundles, right? Everything else that you see in the story section is something that's available, is all in the add-on store. So even if you wanted to add like another issue, a different cover, if you wanted to add anything from the add-on, so it's all in the add-on store, and you can add multiple items from the add-on store. That way, like you got your main thing, it gives you access to the store, and then you can kind of pick and choose, and then you can finish your order. So it simplifies things, I think, on both ends, as far as like
and
picking
what we're looking at here, this is very important. If anyone missed Bounty Wars #1, the first book in this 4-issue series, you can get it now as an add-on. So you'd be able to get #1, the landmark issue, as well, of course, as #2. And then we're going to have 2 more Kickstarters, 3 and 4, in the ensuing months. But this is the opportunity to get #1 and have the whole series.
Yeah.
And it's and something else too. We got a message last night or this morning, a question from a backer asking if we were going to have the PDF available from issue 1. So the PDF, there's a digital only add-on in the add-on store for issue 1 if you needed to get just for your digital collections, if you happen to be overseas, or if you just like to have the digital version of it for your collection. It is available in the add-on store now.
Right.
That's perfect. That's great. So people want to support you guys. They get wonderful PDFs for wonderful book, right? So guys, the link to this is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description of this video. Go check it out. Go share it out, and if you can, go back. A digital goes a long way. Mike says, great looking covers. All And he says Dave Kemp also colored Joe Sontek Reaper Destroyer.
Woo. We just hit 50 backers. Thank you so much, guys.
Yay!
Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
oh wait, let me refresh.
You gotta refresh it, right?
There you go.
It's still on the 49. Oh no.
No, it says 50 on my screen.
There we go.
There you go. There you go.
There we go. Yeah.
Yes! Hell yeah! Hey, come on, baby! Come on! Yes! Come on!
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes! Yes!
That's how I feel. He's got my haircut.
Woo. Excellent. Love it. Love it, guys. Right. Well, you have a lot of stuff going on. So what are the plans for this series? How many books will there be?
Four.
Four altogether. It's a 4-issue miniseries. Yep.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
So the whole
And
story is about a 100-page, maybe a little more than 100, story, complete storyline.
Mm-hmm.
All right. All
Now
right.
here we have the sticker pack. These are I'll
Nice.
get a little bit of an echo. These are 5 inches, between 4 and 5 inches tall, and they're like high quality die cut stickers.
I gotta get those.
Oh, that's pretty big. Yeah. I see you gave Naira a little redesign for this story.
Especially for the story. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I wanted her to have a
so cute
specific
like
costume.
that.
And then
You
the
have a
pose
sharp
that
eye, sir. You picked up on that.
no, well, and the pose that Zen is in, that's actually an homage to the very first issue that we did together back in '93. When you open up the issue, there's a title page on the front, and he's basically in the same kind of pose, just as the title page. So I was like, you know what? I really want to like redo that image. Over 30 years later, let's do that same pose, that same image as a.
And it was in
as a
black
nice
and white initially, so now you have it in
Yeah.
color.
Now you got it in full color with a brand new artwork.
Mike asks also, is there anywhere else official where anybody could seek out past issues of Zen Naira X and the crossovers?
Okay. Well, first of all, if you go to firstcomics.com,
There you
it's
go.
actually like the number one, and then for firstcomics.com, you'll see there are a number. They have a store there, a Shopify store, whatever you call it, and you can purchase certain issues that you'll see which ones are available. Some are sold out. So that's one place to get Zen product there. Okay,
There you go.
First Comics.
And in
And
Naira
they'll-
X books, I do have an online store on my webpage. If you want to go there, there is a 3-issue miniseries. I believe it's the Naira X Reborn miniseries, and I'll be loading up the store with more things later on in the year, closer to Christmas. But there's 3 issues that you could pick up now on my webpage's online store. I got a Gumroad store there where you could pick up some issues.
All right.
Yeah, and I should mention, if you go to eBay, you will see scores of Zen items there, including the NES game, which you can purchase for a mere $4,500
with a coupon.
Wow.
All right, so we have a special arrangement when it comes to original sketches. We wanted to include. We had some quick sketches that we did for issue 1. For this issue, we wanted to do like fully inked pieces and full color pieces. So these are 7x10 sketches. Each pack will feature 1 character, but you'll actually get a sketch from both Kat and myself in each pack.
Oh,
So the black and white sketch packs are $50, and you can either and these are in the add-on store, so you can pick and choose which pack you want, or if you want more than 1 pack or whatever. So this is the Zen pack, 1 sketch by Kat, 1 sketch by Bill.
beautiful.
Then we have the full color sketches, and these are going to be $100 for each pack. You get 2 sketches in each pack, just like you see here. And each sketch is going to be completely different. So we're not going to do like the same. We're not going to sticker book and just make the same sketch over and over and over again. So
No,
you're going to get
original art, right?
Yeah, you're going to get the original art. It's going to be, every single sketch is going to be very different from every sketch before it. Every pack is going to be unique.
Right. Wow. Nice.
And they're 7x10, which is a great size. I can actually bag and board these. They fit right along with your comic book collection, and they fit right inside that Gemini box, so I can ship it to you.
Perfect. This is why Steven de la Vega says Bill Mouse rules.
Oh,
Welcome,
thanks,
Steven.
dude. Thanks, Steven. You're awesome, dude.
Welcome, welcome. And Mike says, excellent to know about the past issues. Thank you, guys.
Awesome,
Thank
awesome.
you.
We have some print packs.
Yep,
Look at
we've got the
those.
print pack. There's only one print pack. You get all 3 images. Every image in the print pack, all 3 of them are new. They're not images that are just taken from the issue. They're not images taken from the trading card. You have
They're
3.
fresh just for the packs.
They're fresh just for the pack. One of them is actually a revisiting because I have an unpublished piece of Zen. That piece in the middle is actually from another adventure with Zen and Nira called Hellspace.
Yeah.
And so we're actually, it was like, you know what? We never published this particular image. We never used it, and especially not in full color. So Cat Mouse did the coloring on all 3 of these. The first 2 pieces are drawn by myself with colors by Cat. The third piece with Zen right there, just looking all fierce and cool. That's a full digital piece, all by Cat.
Nice. Really cool, guys.
And you scroll down, we'll get bigger images of them.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, get a bigger preview of each image.
Better. Look at this. Really cool.
Isn't that great? Wow.
You got Zen and you got Nira in her Bounty Wars outfit.
Yeah, so this is colored by you, Kat, right?
Yes.
By Cat, yes.
So how long does this take you to color?
About an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours.
No.
She's fast.
No, within
takes
2
me all-
hours?
It takes me all day. She's amazing. She's got it. Yeah.
I don't know how she does it.
Coloring
She's a
over
Jedi. That's
100-page issue graphic novels for the past 15 years. So I literally have tens of thousands of hours with coloring.
Mhm.
So I've tried to make it a little bit faster for myself.
A little
Yeah,
faster.
her techniques are dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this one probably took me maybe an hour.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, cutting her teeth over there at Storyboard. Am I right?
Yeah, that's my company storyboard graphic novel.
That's it.
Nice.
And this is the one that I did.
And that's the one that she did. She
Yeah,
did a
that's a
full
full
digital.
Look at that. I love that.
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice, dude.
So the color effect here is a bit different from the others.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. The other ones are line art, and then I color underneath the line art most of the time. This one is full digital, so I paint into the lines a lot. So it gives it a little bit more, gives it a different feel.
Yeah, it has a little bit of a grainy filter over it also, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It's so
Looks
cool.
nice.
I like texture.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, go check out. You can read about all these wonderful people. Go check out the campaign. The link is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description of this video. 50 backers. We made 50 backers during the stream. Awesome. Thank you all so much.
That's what I'm talking about. Rock on.
Yes.
We can't thank you enough
Nice.
for having us, sir.
Yeah, for sure,
great,
dude.
man.
It's a great excuse to hang out, you know?
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome anytime. Sorry that we ran out, but we had so much cool stuff to showcase and talk about. So thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being my guests, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, for sure, dude.
Thank you.
And special thanks to the chat for all you wonderful people who came out to watch us live. Because without you, we're just talking to each other, which is fine. but yeah, so thank you so much. Yeah, so if you like this conversation, guys, give this video a like. If you didn't like the conversation, give it a dislike, and I'm very sorry about that.
No, like.
I'll be back next week, hopefully through the Madness Network. We'll see what's happening there. And I wish you all a very nice rest of your Sunday. So thanks again for showing up, and see you next week. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.